Hello, my friends. It's a beautiful fall day, and I'm feeling incredibly blessed and grateful. I'm going to go see my pony after I spend time with you. So it is definitely a heaven on earth day for me. And I'm hoping to give you a few tools here so that you can have more heavenly days yourself. We all deserve heaven on earth, but it seems it's not the common experience of being human on this planet. You know, we're all incarnating here for our own particular unique, hi Jackie, reasons. We all have our own very individualized curriculum and spiritual contracts. The way my teachers explained it to me, which made things make a lot of sense as to why things seem so unfair here on earth, is because each of us has our own plate of unfinished stuff. It's called karma. Each of us bring in our karma, whatever we haven't cleaned up and cleared out in our past lives is presented to us in this life. And that's perhaps some of the reason we have the parents we do, live in the places we live, and have some of the challenges we experience early on. It may not seem fair, but it's sort of like looking out of a high-rise building on the third floor. If we could go higher in our altitude, things are a lot clearer and make a lot more sense. But most of us don't have that perception or able to see that kind of altitude from our reality. Unfinished karma. Yes. So some of us have a bigger pile of stuff than others. So we each, again, have a very, very individualized curriculum. Doesn't do us any good to compare or to compete, because what happens then is we end up feeling bad about ourselves. We can end up feeling like a victim. And we cannot get to the higher ground of heaven on earth and being empowered and having a fulfilling life as long as we feel like a victim. And that doesn't mean we don't have compassion for ourselves. We do. We just don't go into these deep, long-lasting pity parties, because that's just going to keep us in that place and the position of suffering and struggling. So what can we do to start cleaning our karma? What can we do to start letting go of some of our burdens and heavy toxic energy? This comes down to a few simple practices that I've found to be extremely helpful. Forgiveness. Forgiveness of others and forgiveness of ourselves. I've been told, and I believe this is true, my spiritual teacher said, far more quote unquote negative karma is created by the act of not forgiving than any action we have ever taken. So the antithesis to that, the healing elixir to that, is opening our mind to the possibility of forgiveness. And it has to start with opening our mind to it. We don't get from non-forgiveness and judgment to authentic forgiveness without it being a step-by-step process. It's a one bite at a time process. Hi, Kathy, I love you. So to open our mind to the possibility of forgiveness. For me, this was very challenging because a lot of people had done me wrong, and my story was compelling, and it was intense, and it was painful, and I can get anyone to agree with me. But I finally had the awareness until I forgave them and went deeper, looked in the mirror, and forgave myself. I was going to continue to suffer. There would be no heaven on earth for me until I made that conscious choice, and then made it a diligent and consistent intention and practice. You're probably familiar with Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. I've done that for everyone that I have perceived as doing me wrong. And I've also said it to myself a lot. I've done it in the mirror. I've said it to my inner child. And I think a lot of healing work, a lot of unraveling of pain and heartache, and I think negative karma has occurred by virtue of this simple practice. A couple of other things that I think are really important, yes, forgiveness, is really inviting back and working with and playing with my inner child. You know, the Bible says, be like children if you want to get to the kingdom of heaven. So that's a really important part of the process for me. And also, the kingdom of heaven is within. Nothing of this world, not attaining anything of this world, is going to give us that kind of peace and joy, satisfaction, fulfillment, or love than learning to love ourselves, learning to love our inner child completely, authentically, affectionately, and unconditionally. And again, this isn't an easy process. It's not something that most of us find very natural. In fact, it can be very uncomfortable and very unpleasant. But it's one of those things that we often have to set the intention and then fake it until we make it. Now that my inner child feels very secure and adored and gets to be a big part of my life, there's a lot more days of laughter and joy. And nothing, again, can make us feel that, like getting into that place inside of ourselves. There is no out there. Buddha says that the world is an illusion. It's Maya. When we buy into the world of illusion, when we start dancing for the mirror, we're going to suffer because there is no out there. So I wanted to read something to you that I thought was really helpful. I'm sorry I was wrong. Please forgive me. I forgive you. That is really powerful, Kent. That is very similar to the Ho'oponopono, which I think has been extremely healing in my reality. It's a really wonderful practice. So I love this. I've been reading a little bit about the Bhagavad Gita lately. We eventually learn on our path that the real enemy is not outside of us. It is within. It's our own desire, anger, greed, and unforgiveness. This is what makes life so hard. These arch enemies have linked forces so powerfully that they are unbeatable and we're losing. But the Gita boldly declares that spirituality is the only winning solution. Turning inward and turning upward. Look no further than to the true self. The true self, your soul self, the source spirit that is breathing you, is really where we find our sense of healing and connection. Again, we live on a planet of duality, good, bad, right, wrong, this, that, black, white. It's not bad. It's just how it's set up here for us to learn our soul's lessons and to clear our karma. So as we go higher, as we turn inward and ascend in our consciousness and awareness, life becomes a little bit clearer and softer. Yes, withholding forgiveness is like drinking poison and hoping it's going to kill someone else, or holding that burning coal thinking it's going to burn someone else. But it just hurts us, and again, perpetuates our karma, where we get to come back and do this over and over and over again, and in ways that probably don't feel that great. So another thing that I've done that has worked a lot, it's my practice of surrender. And when I say surrender, I'm not talking about giving up. I'm talking about relaxing and inviting that energy that's moving the planet around the sun to also partner with us in our lives. This is how we can eventually get to the place of higher ground and living a cosmic love affair, which to me, again, is heaven on earth. So surrender. And this is an incredible book. I can't recommend it enough. It's my go-to book when I just want to come back to that place of peace and clarity and truth and inner wisdom. So I would recommend it highly. It's by David Hawkins, Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender. So our planet is weighted more towards love than fear. You might find that difficult to believe. I think humans are tending to, the hangman. It's a tough position to be in. Humans tend to be disconnected from our authentic nature because, again, we have free will and choice. But the planet and animals and nature is weighted more towards love and grace. And if we can just get out of our way, we can align with our true nature again, which is love and peace and bliss and heaven. And again, surrender is such a, hello, Tamu, peace to you as well. Surrendering to that something greater, again, it's been such a powerful practice for me. When I don't know what to say or do, when I'm meditating or praying, I just imagine relaxing and letting God hold my hand and care for me. So that's what surrender is, not giving up, but relaxing and combining your energy, setting that intention to become friends with that something greater, which I guarantee is the best friend any of us can ever have. So as we surrender, life becomes more and more effortless. There's a constant increase in happiness and pleasure, which requires less and less from the outer world to be experienced. There is a diminution of needs and expectations for others. We need less and less from others. We stop looking out there for now what we experience coming from within ourselves, from in here. We let go of the illusion that others are the source of our happiness. And instead of looking to get, we look to give. We start to open more to the experience of synchronicity, blessings, grace, God winks. You know, I like this saying, synchronicity or coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. And I think it's true until we finally are aware that it's God. When I see synchronicity or God winks, I am astonished and happy and amazed, and I say thank you. Sometimes synchronicity scares people, and they're like, oh, well, that's weird. I don't like that. And it will put the brakes on it. But the more I perceive it, the more I enjoy it. And now the only thing I do when I see the God winks or synchronicity, large or small, is say, thank you, thank you, thank you, because I want to continue to invite more and more synchronicity. I want to continue to invite that friendship and relationship and cosmic love affair with Source, Spirit, God, the universe, whatever you would like to call it. And this is how we end up experiencing more heaven on earth. How can we have heaven on earth if we don't have that friendship with our Creator? So as I did not love myself, as I struggled in my relationship with me, I suffered. I don't think there's joy or heaven on earth without self-love. And not self-love from the ego, not self-love from the competition, but the self-love that comes from the soul self. And again, like little children, when you see little children, they're not competing. They're not saying, I'm better than you. That happens as we start to buy into this illusion and this reality of separation and ego. The true nature of a child, a young child, is love, is joy, is play, is creativity. And as we embody and invite more of those qualities back into our lives as an adult, as we let go of our perception of separation, as we heal our hurts, as we do our forgiveness of others and ourselves, we start to relax and come into more authentic, congruent alignment with our true nature. You know, I do think we're here to experience heaven on earth, but we have messes to clean up. And as we do, life becomes more graceful, easy, and joyful. And as I was saying, when I hated myself, life was extremely painful. My perception of life was that it was a string of dirt clods. It was terrible. It was not a nice piece of jewelry. It was not something that tasted good, that was good, that looked pretty. It was pretty unpleasant and rotten, actually. But as I started doing this healing work, set the intention to learn to love myself, as I started doing the forgiveness work and the Ho'oponopono, as I started to heal my sense of unworthiness, guilt, and shame, I occasionally would have what I would call these pearl days, a day of beauty, a day of grace, a day of God winks. And then the more I would do the inner work, the more I would experience the pearl days. Sometimes I would still have dirt clod days, but it started to shift, and eventually it became more pearls than dirt clods. And now it's very unusual to have a dirt clod day. My life is typically, generally, most often just easy, graceful, peaceful, joyful, heaven on earth. There still will be an occasional dirt clod day, and what I realized I need to do, and what I would suggest you do when you're having a dirt clod day, is be kinder to yourself. Not beat yourself up, not being angry or judgmental because you're not where you think you should be, not beating others up, but really cultivating that sense of gentleness and kindness and compassion for yourself. Maybe look in the mirror and say something supportive and loving to you. Get in touch with your inner child and say kind and loving and compassionate and supportive things to them. And as you do, as I have done this, my dirt clod days do shift and transform. When you're having a bad day, be nicer to you. Don't beat yourself up, because that's just going to perpetuate things and make things more unpleasant for longer. So I hope that you are living some pearl days, some heaven on earth days. And I want for you to be able to get to this higher ground of peace, grace, ease, self-compassion, and self-love, because it is your truest nature. And you are worthy of that. And again, it starts with intention. And then it continues, the process continues to unfold with commitment and diligence and consistency. To be consistently kind to yourself is going to be one of the most important and helpful things that you can do if you want a life of grace, ease, and great love. Check in with your inner child. Find out what it is that would bring them joy. When I suffered, it was because I was out of touch with my inner child. I didn't have any idea what she wanted, but we can often look back to what brought us joy as a child. And that's often what our soul wants us to do now. I loved being in nature and drawing pictures and painting, and I loved the idea of horses. I didn't get to be around them as a child, but I like something Wayne Dyer says, it's never too late to have a happy childhood. But for us to figure out what that looks like, we need to be in touch with our inner child and let them inform and educate us. So I hope you're in touch with your inner child and allowing them to speak with you, to inform you. I hope you're in relationship with them and giving them compassion and acknowledgement. And it's not like we let the spoiled brat inner child run this show. We have to be like the loving caretaker, just like we would as a parent. Love them with boundaries, to be able to listen to them, to be able to communicate with them with affection, unconditional love, and support. It's pretty simple. It's not always easy to implement the tools, but when we boil them down to the basics, they really are pretty simple. So my intention is just to keep showing up here and having these simple conversations with you on Manifesting Mondays, and hopefully you're able to get some value from them and implement some of the tools and action steps and get to higher ground and a more love-based, joyful, heaven on earth, prosperous life yourself, because you deserve that. You are worthy. You were created with immense love, by love, and for love. And now it's just the journey back to love as we navigate this terrain and illusion of fear and separation, getting back to our truest nature. So I hope that you are feeling loved and know that you are the child in whom God is well pleased. And I hope you also sense that I'm extremely honored by your presence in my life. I just adore connecting with you, and I would love to be in touch with you if you want to email me with your thoughts, your own revelations, or just be in communication with me here, because to me, relationship is vital. Relatedness, to be in communication and conversation, and to set that intention to go to higher ground, live a life of great love and heaven on earth. And I hope you are feeling the grace and the ease that's here for you. I hope you're opening your heart, removing all the blocks and barriers to love, and receiving the love that is here for you and expressing the love that you are. Know that you're in my heart, meditation and prayers every morning, and I adore connecting with you, and I'm so very grateful for you. So again, be in touch with me. Let me know how you're doing, and I look forward to connecting with you again, hopefully sometime this week, and again next Monday. And happy Thanksgiving to you. I hope you're feeling grateful and blessed, and I am so grateful and blessed by your presence in my life. Take good, gentle care of yourself, your inner child. Surrender to that higher power and enjoy your journey. Relax and enjoy the journey. Take care. I love you. Onward and upward. Bye for now.